Hello, and welcome to the Lucidist podcast. I am Shelley Sawyer Jensen, and on this podcast, I explore everything. One, because everything is related to everything else, so you can't explore anything without touching upon all of it. And two, because I believe in the infinite, unbounded potential within each of us, and knowing that uniqueness, I think looking into everything is highly beneficial. So I'd like to share something a little unique today. I'll tell you a little bit about the background. When I was creating Lucidess, this was in late 21, early 22, I started creating vision boards, only they became vision walls. I literally would get out markers and make big signs and all kinds of affirmations and statements and things I believed in and the why behind it, doing all the things you're supposed to do to create this. And it just slowly took up an entire wall. And I just found it so powerful to walk into the room and see all of this, me, the inside of me on this outside, that I then extended it to a wall in my bedroom. Those were more personal. So pretty soon I just had all of these colorful, drawings and sayings, just all manner of things all over the house. And at some point I thought, I wonder about calligraphy. I do not have good penmanship. I am not an artist by any means. And you will see that artistic work in an episode shortly, but that later. But I thought, I wonder about calligraphy. Obviously, Steve Jobs, but also something about sort of the meditative, slowing down, concentrated quality of calligraphy, which I'd never done, but I could just sense that that's what it was. But that intrigued me, and it felt like something I should try. So my children gave me this cute little calligraphy set for Christmas, and I began doing calligraphy. And my goal was to do it, I think, like 10 minutes every morning. And so I began to do the calligraphy, and of course, my penmanship is quite terrible. So at first, it was very just awful. Okay, just awful. And I was just learning how to draw letters. And then I couldn't stand it. I was like, I cannot stand writing these letters, just like T, 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 S, S, S. You're supposed to practice that. And I was like, not going to happen for me. And so I just started writing, just literally writing. And I would just think of a word and I would write it. And that's when the magic for me began to happen, meaning I got into what I thought it would be, which is this meditative, concentrated, focused, very singular, quiet, slow mental frequency, which also, of course, becomes a physical frequency. And I literally began, and of course, I've done a lot of meditation, so I'm very sensitive to how my body and my mind feel. And I began to literally be able to feel when my brain would, I would say, shift into a different frequency or a different vibration. And it was a very cool thing to be aware of. Just as I'm writing, I'm just slowly writing, and I'm not trying to make it happen. I'm just concentrating on the word, the next word and the next word. And I would feel that shift and think, oh, that is really cool that it's literally changing the frequency, the vibration, the pattern of my brain. The other thing I began to notice is I started to write things that words just started to come, and one word would come and I would very slowly and carefully write that word. And then the next word would come and I would very slowly and carefully write that word. And it wasn't until I was about to finish that word that the next word would come. So I didn't have like big phrases. I just had like one word at a time. And I wrote them all, and fortunately I saved a bunch of them. I remember when I moved from that place, I went through, I did this for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 months, every day, and it started from 10 minutes, started to become 15, started to become half an hour. And I just began to want to do it that long because it was just such a fascinating experience for me. So, and then when I moved, I decided to kind of save the best of the papers. I would say 95% away. I'm really good at throwing things away. So I threw almost all of it away. So here I am 2+ years later, and I stumbled upon them today. The few I saved, I have about 10. I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to read some of them. And I was reading them and I was like, these are kind of really cool. And I've forgotten so many of them. And they're just some are clever sayings, some are just beautiful reminders, some I'm not even sure I understand what I wrote. So I'm literally going to share with you what I learned from calligraphy. And I should say what I'm going to relearn. So part of this podcast is to share the power of doing a contemplative, slow, deliberate exercise and allowing the brain to get into a space where it's both receiving and outputting. And that's what calligraphy came from me, a place where I was present in the output and the receiving just happened naturally. And finding those types of tasks or those activities in my life, is very important for me, because I can get so worked up or busy in life that I don't receive. I don't make space to receive wisdom, guidance, messages, insight. And sometimes receiving for me is connection. I don't take the time to receive the connection, receive the knowing that I'm connected, not just here in this plane, but to other realities I can't explain to you because I don't know. Okay, so I'll just start with the first. Okay, so I'll do this one. I wrote this one on January 8th, 2022. So again, I mentioned I got this on Christmas. I got this cute little set, and I'll show you. I mean, considering it's January 8th and I have terrible penmanship, that's not too bad. I mean, that's not, my calligraphy quickly became pretty good, and I wasn't trying, right? I just literally was, again, allowing it to happen. I wish I was better at that, because when I am able to allow things to happen, brilliance comes through. But I tell you, it is so hard for me. I'm such a trier. I'm such a doer. I'm a fighter, and I don't mean to fight. And that's really frustrating for me. Like figuring out how to turn off the fighting, the trying, and the doing. I swear that'll be my whole life. Okay. And it says 7 a.m. Okay, so January 8th, 2022 at 7 a.m. These are just what I'm writing. What is the dream of my own making? How long do I have to dream this dream? Where do I go from here? When do I look at tiny new sprouts without frightening them? And then in parentheses, I put growing sacred corn. I remember in part of my journey, I worked with a Native American shaman. He gave us these handful of corn seeds that were sacred to his lineage, and we went home and planted them, and we only had a handful, so we had to get it right. Like these had to grow. And you spent a lot of time doing it the traditional way, meaning you prayed and prepared and blessed the ground and all kinds of things. And then when you couldn't see them, you were out there every day praying and blessing. And I have to tell you, when those sprouts finally did show those tiny little green sprouts came up, I mean, I just wept. I mean, the beauty of a seed finally showing its face. But there is sort of in that lineage, the idea that you can't frighten it. You need to be gentle and tender and caring. But I think that's also true of anything that we want to grow. When it's a tiny new little sprout, you have to be careful. You definitely can't stomp on it. You can't ignore it. You can't overwater it, blah, 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 blah. So when do I look at tiny new sprouts without frightening them? Meaning, I think sometimes in my life, something might be growing, and I'm so impatient that I literally can energetically sort of stomp on it. So that's where I was getting with that one. Okay, when is it time to put it out there? When is it time to be found? I.e., plant. I put this pretty little swirl. Reap. Where is joy in the journey? How can I use joy as a compass? Is the ache in my heart a lie or a truth? How can I know this truth? And I wrote that, I remember that because, in things like Vipassana, other things, you don't pay attention to anything other than sensations. And you're sort of overriding other types of wisdom. There's a place for both, right? So I'm often wondering if some of what I'm experiencing just needs a little bit more meditation. And some people would say, yes, just always that. Um, I guess I'm of the mindset that sometimes the ache is a necessary part. It's going to get you to the next thing. May or may not be true. Where is my center? Who really knows me? And I'm going to read that again because I don't think anyone does. Who really knows me? I was speaking to someone just today who knows me fairly well, pretty close. And I shared an inner aspect of me that I keep pretty private. And they said, I would never have guessed that about you. Like, you just don't seem that way. And I said, well, that's the dichotomy that I live with, is that I'm both. They're like, you seem like this way. And I said, yes, I am. I'm both. And that's the difficulty. I have very broad aspects of myself that don't harmonize well. So, and then I found this interesting when I went on this. I suddenly wrote, do I want daily goals? Weekly? Why? I'm obviously questioning. That's right. It's New Year's. I'm obviously questioning, like, did I want to set goals this year, and why would I? Do I trust the flow of my own life? Heart says no. Bad things happen. True. Heart says it can't be otherwise. Heart says it's the attitude. Do I trust the flow of my own life? So when I read this today, I was like, I'm still asking myself that question, and I still have the same answers. Part of me is like, no, like you felt like you should do things, and bad things happen. So it's like, what flow are you talking about? Because I believe if I follow the flow of my life, only good things should happen. That's how I want it to be. And then part of me says it can't be otherwise. Part says it's the attitude. I don't even think I understand that last one. I'm gonna have to think about that. I mean, I know it's the attitude, but that definitely feels like something to think about. Okay, let's do this one. This is on the 9th or the 3rd. I can't quite tell. It says, inhabit the flow. I like that. Inhabit the flow. Interesting. Let's see. Don't try to make someone. Okay. Open to life and all the goodness it offers. Cultivate flowing with life. Concern myself with my thoughts, words, deeds. Cultivate flowing with life. I wrote that really big. Cultivate flowing with life. That's very big. Practice flowing with life. I wrote that big too. Streaming. And then over here in the sidebar, I wrote a bunch of little words. Cultivate, practice, tend, respect, inhabit, dwell, sojourn, sky, God, heaven, dream. And then I wrote, find this so interesting, vulva of white cotton and green edges. I drew a little picture. So if you've ever seen cotton before it opens, it's cracking open. It kind of has this vulva shape. It cracks open. No idea. No idea how that came about. Okay, let's do this one. This one was kind of a cool day. I just wrote, I can tell, I just wrote like little, I must have just been getting little blurbs this day, and there's no date on it. Every moment is a new dance partner. I like that because songs don't tend to last very long in my life. I've got lots of new dance partners. The spark alights when time is right. The spark alights when time is right. Love is a relaxed surrender with a steadfast gaze. Love is a relaxed surrender with a steadfast gaze. Those who rise from nothing know love is everything. Those who rise from nothing know love is everything. Quiet suspension. I like this. I'm going to share this one. This is so weird. I put a little quiet suspension. I like that one. The materials shape the idea. I liked that one, even though I was like, what? I still am. The materials shape the idea. What you're going to work with affects the outcome. Step in time with time. Time is a big, I love this whole notion of time and what is it? Very fascinating to me. So step in time with time. There's another one in here that I take time apart. It's very kind of interesting. We'll get there. Experience has no concern about outcome. Oh, it says experience has no concern for outcome. I often think that there should be certain outcomes. Absolutely, there should be certain outcomes. And I forget, well, I guess at the same time, I have a belief that so much of this is an experience, and experience doesn't care about the outcome. It's here to experience. Boredom is lost in the present. I would probably change that today and say boredom gets lost in the present, meaning when I'm present, boredom just gets lost. It has no place to be. Sometimes okay is the new wonderful. Sometimes okay is the new wonderful. Tinder is the dream prepared for flame. It's too bad that there's that dating app using that word because it's a great word. Tinder is the dream prepared for flame. Prepare for the match. Okay. Let's see. This one. Flow with the sorrow of failure, of trying, hoping, believing, dreaming. That still resonates with me. I wrote this one on the 12th. I don't know, maybe I have it the 12th of January. I have failed so much in my life. I have tried so much. I have hoped so much. I have believed so much. I have dreamt so much. And I have found that in my experience, there's a good bit of sorrow when you try and you hope and you believe and you dream and it doesn't happen. So just flow with the sorrow of failure, trying, hoping, believing, dreaming. Just let it be part of it. There is such magnificence to this experience, such wonder, such awe at my own helplessness, even when I bear the power of creation. What if I choose wrong? I want there to be an inner knowing about the choice and the outcome. I believe the most I get is a knowing about the choice. What do I choose? To follow my heart. What, how, who it loves. And who do you love, dear heart? It's interesting. The first word I wrote after that is God. I do not consider myself a religious person. I don't usually use the word God, but that's what I wrote. So, and who do you love, dear heart? I wrote God, love, joy, beauty, man, woman, child, life. What about the rest? Whom do I love? There isn't any. I love those I learn to love. So, and again, this probably took, I know that doesn't sound like much, and it's like probably someone's journal entry, but because it was written in calligraphy, you could see all my like ink marks. That probably took at least a half an hour, to write that in that style, because you're writing so slowly and just listening for the next words. All right, here is another one. Love is achieved within. Love is achieved within. Trust is achieved within. Trust is achieved within. This was written on February 22nd. My birthday is February 20th. See? Close. Rebirth and renewal begin with dying. Rebirth and renewal begin with dying. Explore everything at once. This is interesting because this came out, I wrote this before that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, whatever that title is. But it's also, again, this is the time when I was creating Lucidess, and I was like, they kept saying, well, the things I would read about starting a business, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, get really specific. And I was like, no, it's everything. Like, I want to literally explore everything because there's nothing that I want to take off the table. So it was interesting that I wrote explore everything at once. Just still how I feel. Notice discrepant events. And then after that, in parentheses, I put, that's funny. And I wrote it in calligraphy. Notice discrepant events. I need to think about that one. Be patient with forming ideas. Be patient with forming ideas. I think that is so important for me, and I think most people in today's world, because we get so much information, we suddenly have an idea. We have formed an idea about anything. I don't know that we take the time to let things marinate, to let new ideas form, or even old, just be patient with forming ideas. And then spark curiosity, serve soul, think broad. Isn't that interesting? Think broad. Oftentimes we're trying to hone in on that. I'm going to figure out this thing. Think broad. And then I wrote, not author, contributor. I like that because I would say I'm not the author of these words. I'm a contributor. Like I was a contributing factor to this. I'm the channel, the portal, so to speak, the channel, whatever, that it came through, but I wouldn't say I'm the author of these. The universal current of creation has many frequencies. The universal current of creation has many frequencies. Obviously, I'm going to create based on my frequency. Oh, I remember. Okay, this one's interesting. Now, before I read it, I'm just going to tell you. So in this one, I suddenly had the thought as I was writing it, because I was like, what the hell am I writing? That if there's a challenge that you're like, I don't want this one, turn it off. So I wrote, challenges are light bulbs. Leave them off. Like if you don't want that challenge, I mean, sometimes you can see like that would be, I've walked down there. I know that challenge, or I think I know that challenge. It's a life, just turn it off. Turn it off. The universal current has many frequencies of creation. Oh, it's interesting. And I wrote it. So I wrote the universal current of creation has many frequencies. And then I wrote the universal current has many frequencies of creation. So I wrote it in another way. Okay, so here's the one about time. So I'll just kind of show you. It starts off with music, resonance. So I'm not even talking about time. I write music, resonance, echo, echo, echo. Literally read it 3 times. Sound, voice, creation, time. This is on January 21st of 22. Okay, so this is where I start, literally start by writing the word music, resonance, echo, 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 sound, voice, creation, time. And then things get really cool. Time is a vibration. I truly believe that. Change vibration, change time. Creation is an altering of time. Echo plays time, reveals the structure of time. I just want to show you, like, see how big I wrote structure. Echo plays time, like the echo of not just sound, like there's a lot of echoes. Echo plays time, reveals the structure of time. Time has a structure. And then I wrote echo, 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 echo. Time is malleable, part of creation, an active part of the creation process. Time is malleable. Resonance, resound, echo, sound. Is there any time without sound, comma, vibration? Is there any time without sound, comma, vibration? I don't think so. Create from time, resonate with time, echo times tune. Echo times tune. And then I drew little music notes at the bottom. I may have just bored all of you to death with that one, but that is so fascinating to me. And I did not understand all of it, but I understand enough to feel like the universe is playing with me with that one. Like, hey, like, check this out, girl. Okay, 125, January 25th. January and February were big months with this. 9 I mean, this is, I don't know what I'm writing. 9 dimensions. 3 is reality. 6 is creation. 8 is infinite. 1 is unity. 2 is duality. 4 is dream. 5 is vision. 7 is, and I just left it blank. I never got what 7 is. Vibration holds it together. Control, 3rd dimension leads nowhere. And 3rd dimension is reality. Guides in 5th dimension, question mark. And the 5th dimension is vision. My real job is a portal. I don't know how to get paid for that job. Guides are benevolent signals. There you go. I let you into every cell of being. I think I must have been like feeling my guides and telling them. And they were saying, like, we're just these benevolent signals you receive. And I was saying, I let you into every cell of being. And then I put, do what body asks, eat foods filled with light. I wish I did that better. Breath, meditation, soul is knowing how to breathe. Eat, breathe, laugh, sing. Pyramids are song. And then in the corner I put, what am I really doing? Right? Like I get that with it, like, oh, what am I doing? Okay, so I think that's enough of that. I just wanted to share. So here's the big takeaway with all of this. I just want to say that there are so many ways for us to access our wisdom. And the biggest one is finding that activity, that experience that allows you to be uniquely you. So sitting alone with paper and pen and finding a meditative space where I can write anything. I could write any word. I could draw. I drew lots of pictures. I mean, it didn't matter. I wasn't doing it for anyone. No one was ever, I wasn't planning on ever sharing these. So that would be my takeaway for you to begin to access more. And I'm saying this to you. You know I'm saying this to me, right? I mean, you know I never say anything to anyone else without realizing it's for me. My goal, especially right now in my life, is to really deeply, deeply connect to myself and to connect to places I never have. And places that are, I would say right now, there is something in me that is done. And it is done waiting. It's done being ignored. It's done with me dismissing it or the world saying it's not enough. I don't really know, but it is done. And it's pretty angry and it's very frustrated and it's just done. And I am trying to figure out how to access and listen and hear and go with that because I realize it's going to and it needs to run the show right now. But between me and that, doubt, fear, pain, doubt, I don't even know. So that's why I went back to, that's how I stumbled upon this. I was like, okay, what are some of the things I've done in the past to help me access myself because you can't, it's like growing the corn. It's like growing these sacred, if I gave you just these 5 seeds, these 5 little kernels of corn and said, go grow enough corn to eat, you'd be like, oh my God, these are like gold. I have to like tend to these and I can't force them to grow. I can't fight them. I can't make them. I can't try to make them grow. Like, there's just this huge, like, humble tending of them, the non-doing, the non-forcing, the non-fighting. And that's, for me, the only way I can access some of the deepest, most sacred, and most important parts of myself. So I am trying to find my way to those places. And I haven't been able to, and I've been trying for many weeks. And so I'm just sort of stumbling back upon old things I've done in the past to see if any of those will work, which you'll be seeing some of my artistic drawings soon. Oh, I can't even believe I'm going to show it to you. I just want to tell you, I literally told myself that I'm probably going to die And that's why I can show you my drawings and tell you my story, because then I'll die soon after and it won't matter what you all think of it. I know. It's like that's how resistant I am to sharing the story and showing you my drawings. Another podcast. For now, find ways. Find ways. Join me in finding ways to access that inner wisdom without trying, doing, fighting, forcing. That's where I am on my journey. I hope you guys all have a beautiful day and that there was something new for you to learn here and discover for yourself about yourself through my lens, through my frequency, through my voice and sound and vibration. So, thank you so much. Bye bye.